Welcome to the June edition of the CUNY Black Male Initiative Dialogues. My name is Derek Phillips. I'm the founder and CEO of Real Dads Network. The title of today's dialogue is Developing Fathers, Purpose, Proud, and Prepared. We have our panelists today. It's going to be Christian Ortiz, Jorge Benitez, and Raheem Brooks. But before we get to our panelists, just want to give you some information about the CUNY Black Male Initiative. The CUNY Black Male Initiative was started 17 years ago with the support from the New York City Council and then Chancellor Matthew Goldstein. The CUNY Black Male Initiative has worked to create systems of support to improve academic and career outcomes of Black and Latino men. Here are the 6 pillars of the CUNY Black Male Initiative. 1, academic enhancement. 2, culturally incompetent peer-to-peer mentoring. 3, social emotional programming. 4, diversity recruitment. 5, institutional commitment. And 6, advisory committee. There are 33 campuses funded programs that provides wraparound services to create places of belonging that cultivate success. The CUNY BMI campus program support pre-college students, formerly and presently incarcerated students looking to complete their high school equivalency, as well as undergraduate and graduate students at all CUNY campuses, including the CUNY School of Law, Sophie Davis Biomedical Education Program, AKA CUNY School of Medicine, and the newly added programs at the School of Professional Studies and the School of Urban and Labor Studies. Now we're going to get into our discussion today, so we're going to jump right on in. Again, the dialogue today is Developing Fathers, Purpose, Proud, and Prepared. We have our distinguished speakers here today. So we're going to just jump right on in. And Raheem Brooks, can you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure. I'm Raheem Brooks. I'm the program director for the CUNY Fatherhood Academy at LaGuardia Community College. I've been with the program for 10 years now, since its inception. Great to be here, man. Good talking to you, Derek. Man, you're a huge person that I look up to in this work, man, and the work you do at Real Dads Network is, truly inspiring and pushes me to continue to, push this work forward. Thank you, man.
Well, Raheem, thank you, man, and thank you for all the work that you have done at CUNY Fatherhood Academy as well. Christian Ortiz, can you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are?
Yeah, how you doing? I'm Christian. I'm the mentor coordinator here at Fatherhood. I like to just think of myself like as a spiritual giver at Fatherhood. I'm a dad. I have a 9-year-old little girl, and just doing the thing,
Welcome. Jesus.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jesus Benitez. I am the Interim Outreach and Recruitment Coordinator with Fatherhood Academy. I started with them back in 2013. And now I'm working full-time with them. So I think you froze. Oh.
Did you freeze?
No, I'm
okay. So listen, Raheem, I got to go back as well, because Christian, you said something that I didn't mention as well. You say you have a 9-year-old girl, so I have to say that I'm married, and so we're gonna have to go back, Raheem.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm married. I have 2 girls. I have a 22-year-old, and I also have a 26-year-old. I've been married for 28 years, so I have to make sure I mention them, otherwise I'll get in trouble. So thank you for reminding us. Raheem, I'm gonna go back to you.
Can I go? Yes.
Come back.
I'm married as well, and I have a 7-year-old daughter, first grade, and it's incredible being a dad. I'll say that. Yeah, definitely.
Well, I'm a single father, co-parenting now, strongly co-parenting, and my son just turned the big 13. this year. So I'm dealing with that.
Well, welcome everybody. So we got to make sure we talk about, one of the reasons why we're here, which is fatherhood. And, and sometimes we talk so much, we talk a lot, but sometimes we forget to always mention that most important piece, which is our children. So thank you, Christian, for reminding us.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So we want to jump right on in. Raheem, can you just describe, give us an overview of the CUNY Fatherhood Academy?
Yeah, sure. The Fatherhood Academy is a high school equivalency and college preparation program. And it's designed for fathers or expecting fathers between the ages of 18 to 30 years of age. We started in 2012, so it's been 10 years. Wow. It started before I was a dad, so that's probably why I was thrown off. But we started 2012 as part of a partnership with the New York City Young Men's Initiative, the Mayor's Office for Economic Opportunities, the Open Society Campaign for Black Male Achievement, and we started at LaGuardia Community College. It's been really amazing, part of the Division of Adult and Continuing Education. In 2016, fortunately for us and for the program, we were expanded, and now we have programs on Hostos Community College as well as Kingsborough Community College. And again, the mission of the program is to strengthen families by promoting responsible fatherhood and economic stability through education, employment, and personal development.
Wow, Raheem, I can't believe that it's been over 10 years that the program has been. Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That is incredible. So
one of the early guys in the program was Jesus Benitez, by the way. He's one of the original guys, probably within our second year, right, 2013, around that time. So it's been amazing to see him, to be here with him after all these years. It's insane in a good way.
So I guess I'll take us right into, Jesus, can you talk to us describe your perspective in regards to the CUNY Fatherhood Academy? What impact has the Fatherhood Academy had on your life? But also tell us about what it was like before you got there and how you transitioned when you got there.
I mean, all I gotta say is that I wouldn't be here without them. I definitely wasn't thinking about college. It was something that wasn't an interest to me. And when I first got to this program, I thought it was a scam. I thought it was a scam. It had a fake family. It was very obvious. And I'm like, man, I don't know what they're trying to pull. And I remember because at the time, I was trying to look at different programs that were giving certificates like bartending, security license. But, before even signing an application or even doing anything, they will always ask you for a social. And I'm like, nah, I'm good, man. I ain't giving you my social. And I remember being at Fatherhood and I'm like, I don't know, like they seem legit. I'm really not interested. I just want to get my GED and get out. So, I took a chance to be with them. And the only thing that convinced me was because they were located at LaGuardia Community College. And I'm like, if they are part of a college, then maybe they're not going to try to scam me. Maybe they're the good ones. So I took a chance for them. I took a chance on them, and it ended up being something incredible for me because I barely went to school. I wasn't good at essays. I ended up dropping out at 17 years old when I had my son. But even before that, I never went to school. So, it wasn't really interesting for me to be anywhere here. But the idea was to kind of get my GED and get another step up from where I was, because where I was working, the minimum hours I was doing was about 12 to 15 hours a day. And I was trying to look for a way to kind of get something that was beneficial for me and for my son, because at the time I was a single parent, not co-parenting. Everything was on me. And yeah, like took a chance on them and ended up falling in love with college, which is very weird, but yeah, it was pretty cool.
Wow, that's great. Jesus, can you talk about, because you had said something about the fact that, you know, you didn't really trust the whole thing, that it might be a scam with this whole thing. But you said it was also on a college campus. Why was that so important to you? And how did that change your mindset?
Because it was in a college campus, I was hoping that, you know, these guys were legit. It was the only thing that kind of convinced me that they were legit. And it wasn't because they were bringing me to a different environment, which actually helped a lot later on, but it was just my step inside the door. And, you know, having conversations with Dave and Raheem, and it was just weird because they actually care, and it was like, what are you guys looking for, man? Like, what are you trying to sell me? And these guys, you know, they were always 100% truthful, you know, super helpful, and they just wanted to get to know me, which was like weird because no one really cares about you, you know, when you're a young father trying to get something. I've been to a GD program before, fatherhood, and you know, they were asking me a bunch of paperwork, and they didn't really care what my situation. It was just so I can get in the program and basically cover themselves because I was young at the time, and it was just like, whatever, like either you come or you don't. And I was like, man, forget this program. Later on, being with fatherhood, it wasn't like that. It was kind of like coming to my level and like, yo, what do you need so I can help you? And for me, that was just weird because, you know, like no one really cares. Dave is white, so Dave is Dave is white. I come from the hood. Like I've never met a white person before. So in that interaction for me was kind of so different. But just taking the time to speak with them, you know, really helped me to begin that process of actually trusting them, and realizing that there are people out there who are willing to help you with no fees included, you know, no hidden fees and all that. But yeah.
That is great, because a lot of times, and I'm glad you said that, because a lot of times when we are talking about young fathers where you feel alone, and me being a former assistant principal in New York City, and the schools that I worked at was a transfer high school, where a lot of times when you're dealing with young people, what they want to feel like is they want to feel like I belong, that you care about me. You know, so it seems as though what you really got that feeling of when you came to the Fatherhood Academy was this sense of family. You know, so that really propelled you to really move forward.
Yeah, that's you know, it's not uncommon, you know, what Jesus says. You know, a lot of guys come in and they're like, what's this? You know, it sounds too good to be true or something. And you know, the environment in which we're in a college, you know, campus is, you know, I guess, you know, a lot of our guys haven't really been on a college campus like that, you know, so we're very mindful in how we, you know, create an environment, a safe space. I know we were on the thing yesterday, the conference with DYCD, Affirming Fatherhood, and I know Mr. Braswell, he said, you know, create a you know, brotherhood of fatherhood, you know, and I thought that was really a great concept, and that's kind of what we do. You know, it's a brotherhood around fatherhood that we just happen to create within, you know, the college campus environment, which is pretty unique, you know, about our program.
Yeah, that's huge. So Christian, I want to get to you. So let's hear about from your perspective as a student, and what was this, talk about this, your experience, this whole brotherhood of fatherhood that you were able to get in contact.
Yeah, well, one of the things I just thought of right away is when Raheem was speaking, he said, we kind of do that. It's like, no, we do that all the way. It's all about care and love and support. And I mean, I'll come back to that, but like with me, questions like this, it takes me down memory lane, because for me, I wasn't a good student. I wasn't a good student, but I cared about school, if that makes sense. Like I wasn't making the effort as a young teenager to do good in school, but I'm like, you know, that unconsciously you're like, I mean, I do want to do good though. But you know, one of the things for me was environment. So prior to coming to the CUNY Fatherhood Academy, I dropped out of high school because I had my daughter. A year before having my daughter, my mom passed away from brain cancer. So high school for me was being involved in the streets, justifying that by taking care of my mom with her brain cancer. It was like, if I could go and do A, B, and C, but I could come home and pray with my mom and feed her, then it's justified. And now as a man, you understand that that wasn't the right thing to be doing. But I dropped out of high school, and I had gone to my graduation because my child's mother had graduated. So I was on the outside looking in, carrying a baby, and one of the things I thought of was, I'm gonna do this for me in my own way, and not doing it, right now, but doing it when I'm meant to. So I went on this journey. I found the Covenant House, which was a shelter. I'm sure they're still there, but I was going there for a GED. But like Jesus said, similar to other GED programs, it's kind of like, if you come, you might go and get into a fight. There's not a real support group whatsoever. But one of the instructors that was there, his name is Andre Ford, which he now teaches at the CUNY Fatherhood Academy. So after a few attempts at getting my GED, I'll be honest with you, the fact that I wasn't really preparing, that I didn't have support, that my life was kind of in this whirlwind, I wasn't passing these exams. So, one of the things in our community that we see with our brothers is that sometimes they feel like they're inadequate or they're not smart enough, and that's not true. I feel so. He ended up telling me, "Hey, I'm going to be going to this program. It's called the CUNY Fatherhood Academy." Me and him had always had a good friendship, and we always had like this cool clothing competition, or culture competition in a friendly way. So I trusted his word. I came to the CUNY Fatherhood Academy, and I didn't feel like it was a scam, but it felt like, in a way, the community that I needed, because it's like, you could have it's like, imagine LeBron James playing for the Sacramento Kings. He might not go anywhere. You put LeBron in the right situation, now he can, do his thing, be around the right teammates, be around the right coaches. So for me, people like Raheem, Dave, and even I'm gonna talk about Jesus from the beginning, because when I came to the CUNY Fatherhood Academy, my mindset was, okay, I'm gonna get my GED just so I could check the box of not graduating high school. So Jesus was like, "Yo, bro, I'm telling you, man, go to college." I was like, "That's a scam, bro." But like, very similar to what he said, is that I fell in love with college in a way that allowed me to develop my interests. And another tricky thing was that after I got my GED at Fatherhood, I will walk the halls and see the guys that are now trying to get their GED. And I was like, I want to help those guys. I want to pull them up. There was nothing, no one ever told me to do it, but I was like, that's my brother, even though I don't know him. So that motivated me. I went from being a student to being a mentor and going to college at LaGuardia. And I had another job, but I knew that I wanted to mentor. Like, I was waiting for that other job to be done. I just wanted to be in the classroom with those guys. Like, that fulfills me. So, we're still here now, still helping the guys. For me, it's very important my main thing, and sometimes I disclose it and I don't, but I want to really help my brothers hit that switch in their mind to say, I'm smart, I can succeed, I can be mentally stable, and all those other things that you guys have as well, because like you guys mentioned marriage, and I was like, oh, you guys look pretty happy and healthy. Skin is glowing for being married. So being in the middle of learning from people like Raheem and Jesus and Dave and everybody else, and then trying to help my brothers come and be not behind me, but now in the journey of trying to get their GED. So I love it.
Well, Christian, thanks, man. I
Yeah.
think what you said was some just very valuable stuff in regards to the importance of just, once you've gone through the door and you've sort of seen the light and seen, you got it. So now that going back and really helping others once you've gotten that information. So Raheem, that's going to lead me to, can you just talk about the importance? Why was it so important to develop this nurturing environment and this culture because I'm hearing from Christian and Jesus, and they're just talking about this culture of just family and belonging. It's like, they had one thought process before they got there. And then when they got there, it's like, you know what? Wow. So just talk about that culture and that environment that you guys have created at the Fatherhood Academy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're part of, a system, and a lot of our guys come from different systems, and that are city and state systems. And it's extremely important, as you know, Derek, like you have to create a space for men, and in this case, fathers, to be able to share, a space that provides reflection and, just diverse examples of fatherhood, while providing a safe space, for our guys just to express themselves. It's incredibly therapeutic, it's healing. So it's very intentional, what we're doing. You have to have a passionate staff, and the brothers, mentioned several of our team, knowledgeable, those that are really connected to the work, that are really connected to the mission. It's all important. I mean, you have to like move together. We have to create a space where we feel united. Although we have a parents, a HSC or GED program, kind of what brings us together is these other additional pieces like the social emotional conversations that we have, our parenting workshop, our men's groups, which it unifies us. It makes us feel, wait a minute, like we're pretty similar in some ways. It's interesting, and again, man, it blows my mind, and I'm on this call with my brothers right here because, and Christian mentioned Jesus was a mentor to Christian, and now Christian is a mentor to other brothers like that. That's where the real, power is there. We're mentoring each other in a way. And that just goes such a long way. And it's just not the program. It expands to the family, it expands to the communities, and that's where change comes, from that, so it's very intentional. It's not like by mistake. It's definitely something that we think about and we plan about, and, we have to be very mindful that, we're creating a space where guys can in ways be themselves and continue to grow, within that space.
And you talk about just, creating that space. I just look at the space overall. It's like the space, and then you have the fact that, and I'm being from high school, you're at a college, you're at a college, and I've been in this fatherhood space for over 20 years. There is no other program like the CUNY Fatherhood Academy, where you have men who are on a college campus. So that is huge. So that work alone just speaks volumes. And then just the staff that you guys have there at the Fatherhood Academy in regards to the program that you've developed. So can you talk more about that program? Like, what does that program look like, and what has it meant to you? And I'm going to go to Christian. Just talk about that program a little bit in terms of how has it worked for you in your development?
It honestly, I feel like I was able to find what I needed, and it's very like complex because I did speak about certain people that I admire, but then I think about, like, for example, Tracy, who she's the employment specialist, right? I remember times where I used to, of course, go to her to try to find jobs and stuff, but she used to make me feel like I was valuable. She used to help me see the vision of who I wanted to become, and I'm becoming now as a man, like aside from a father, but like as a man. Like, I even remember she was like, yo, I see you in this luxury car, like, just like, especially, I'll be honest, especially losing my mother, she gave me this sense of like, yo, I believe in you. I see you. I see the journey. Yo, you're great. And not in a way that was fake, but really getting to know my life and giving me a space to speak. Like, I'm telling you, like, that was like special, because a lot of our guys, what we also need is belief. And as men, sometimes we can't recognize that, a lot of times our women, they need affirmations, but as men, we need affirmation too. It's like, brother, I see you, you're doing your thing with your kids, yo, you're still making the effort within yourself. Now going back to like the program, it was kind of like the feeling that we are going to push you until you succeed, in a way of like pushing you through love. And this is something I do with my daughter, like pushing you with love and support instead of like toughness and like bravado. And really just believing in us, like me and Jesus and all the guys through the journey completely. Like I'll be honest, it's everyone in their own way. You know, Raheem does a great job at like, you know, when coming up, we all have a big homie, and Raheem is like the big homie that we need. That if a album comes out, we're gonna talk about music, we're gonna talk about sports, we could talk about our kids, we could talk about life, and it's important because another thing that Raheem does too is like he values us and he respects us, and it honestly it never feels like, yo, he's our boss, or like even with Dave, like it never. They respect us as men and as fathers, and in a way we're all, like he said, we're all mentoring each other. We're just loving and respecting each other as a part of a community. So I ain't going nowhere for a while. I'll be here, you know.
Thanks, Christian. So, Jesus, I'm going to ask you this question as well, but also, you know, talk about what does fatherhood mean to you? I mean, if you've gone through the Fatherhood Academy and you have a child, what does fatherhood mean to you?
So when I was at 17, having a son at a very young age, I didn't realize the importance of father because I didn't grow up with a father as well. And it never really occurred to me, like this idea of fatherhood. Like I was so in this state of survival of like just getting the next paycheck, getting the next, you know, things for my son, the food, también, you know, the quality time for him. And to realize that there was a cycle that I was doing, that my mom, she would work 2-3 jobs. So as I was growing up, I would take care of my brothers and sisters. And I realized that I was doing the same thing, working a lot and not being able to have time for my son, and not having that emotional connection with him. And, you know, I don't know what fatherhood means. I don't know what motherhood means. I'm just a single parent at a young age, no idea what's next, no idea what life is, and just trying to understand the moment. And I realized, you know, that I didn't have this connection with him. So when I did take the chance with fatherhood, that was always in the back of my mind of like, how can I build this relationship with my son? How can I be a better person for him? And then I realized that being a better person, not just for him, but for myself as well. And having these conversations with Raheem and Dave, and like, you know, like Christian says, you know, these guys never told us what to do. And not even one moment is like, yo, you got to do this, you know. And I appreciate them because they helped me with the process of like raising my son, of like giving him options, you know, explaining him his situations and things like that. And as I fell in love with philosophy studying in college, I kind of used this whole critical thinking mindset of like how to support my son, how to get closer with him. And as a father, I realized that I have to be there for him no matter what and support him. And even now, you know, he had a situation in school where they had like a small fight. And I'm like, yo, Papi, this is the time where you have to decide what you're going to do. And I'm here to support you. And that's it. Whether it's good or bad, I'm like, you know, as a dad, I have all these emotions because I love you. So if you do the wrong thing, I'm going to go nuts. But I'm going to support you, you know. But you know, you have to think about the consequences. You need to think about, you know, what's going to happen next, just not just the moment, and realize that no matter what, I'm going to back you up. And we had this whole conversation of life, and for me, it was like fatherhood's becoming this guide for him that I've never had as a kid. You know, every day I have to learn how to make coffee, you know, something simple as that. You know, I'm setting the way for my brothers and my sister to go to college. My brother's now about to finish LaGuardia. And, you know, I had to be here trying to figure out as a first generation, you know, Latino, being in college and trying to figure it out. Now I'm passing that way for them. And I'm realizing while I'm doing that, I'm also setting an example for my son of, you know, doing this whole journey of college and coming to college to not to study for money, but to study things that you might love. And it's been the same way where I've been working with, you know, someone like Christian, um, and and just telling them like, yo, you're gonna love this. Just do it because you love it, man. And this is because it comes from Raheem and Dave, who, when I was a computer science major, I would sit down with them like, I don't know, man, like philosophy is something really good. Like I really love it. And Dave told me, I will never forget what Dave told me. He told me like, look, do what you love and worry about the money later. I'm like, you know, and I have a history of hustling a lot. And he used to tell me, you know, you're a hustler. So don't worry about the money. Do what you love. And then the money comes after because you're a hustler and you're going to make that happen. And yeah, I took his advice and it was like the most amazing thing for me because with what they're teaching me as my mentors, I'm able to put that for my son and for my brothers as well. And for the guys who come here into the room where I just say, hey, what's up? How you doing? And I remember one guy, he started crying because he was like, you know, you always take the time to say what's up to me. You know, when I was students, and I was shocked, like, because I was like, oh, I didn't know this was very important for you, you know? Um, and and I was just doing what these guys taught me, you know, passing the love uh, uh, and and actually giving us time to be able to express ourselves in that way. And I think the way I'm living, the way I'm learning from them is the way I'm teaching my son as well, where I'm like, you know, one of my, I say one of my Christmas is taking him to school and picking him up, whether he doesn't want me to no more. But, and the idea is just to spend that quality time where I'm like, yo, Bobby, how's school? You know, how was this? Did you like it? Was it annoying? You know, and we have these conversations and he'll ask me about when I was a kid and what I used to do. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to tell you yet. And we do have honest conversations of like when I used to hustle and he understands that concept. But I think I wouldn't be here to open up this much without getting introduced with college, without meeting mentors like Raheem and Dave, and even guys like Christian who so passionate and they teach me all the time a lot of things, you know, and I always have to step back like, oh, you know, I never thought about that. Like that's pretty dope, you know? But yeah.
Jesus, thanks for sharing that, because also I think one of the things also just listening to you and you're talking about just saying how you doing, hi, the little things that we do in life. And I think sometimes we tend to focus so much on the big things, but it's really those little things that we do in life that really makes the big difference. You know, like even sometimes when we're interacting with each other, or even when we're interacting with our children, because we always think, you know, we got to take you here, I'm going to take you to this big event, I'm going to take you to Disney, I'm going to take you to do that. And then, you know, we asked, you know, we did this documentary and we asked one of the children, it's like, you know, well, what did you remember most? And the dad said he took him there and there. And the child said, I just remember when my dad just walked me to the park and we just had a conversation.
Yeah, and you know, one of our traditions that we do is when we are in the train, he chooses a song, I choose a song, and he introduces me to some really dope songs, and I'm like, what? Where do you get this from, man? And you know, and I teach him a few of the things that I like a lot, and this bonding experience that I'm so in love with because it helps me know him better as a person, not as my son, as a person. That's who he is. And right now he's in this rock phase. So he's like, can you teach me more rock? I'm like, I got you some classical ones, man. So he's in this phase and slowly he's like transitioning to a little bit of reggaeton, a little bit of hip hop. I'm like, oh, you know, I got you a little bit here. And yeah, that really enjoy it because it helps me understand them as a person, as an individual.
Isn't it great when your kids like some of the music you like? You're like, yes.
Yeah.
Man, and which is, also just good to hear is that the interaction, the listening to each other as well. That's so important because sometimes as parents, we think that we know everything, but the most important thing for our kids also is that when we listen to them. So Christian, I want you to talk also in regards to just talk about what it means for you as well to be that father, and talk about manhood and fatherhood with you as well.
Derek, listen, I've been going through it. My daughter just turned 9, and I feel like, similar to Jesus, like I had my daughter when I was 18, and every almost season gives different things, right? Lately where I've been is so similar to Jesus. Jesus was always about philosophy and stuff. For the last like 2 years or so, that's been me. I'm like, yo, this is it. I got freaking stoic tattoos on me and all that. But one of the things I read in a book called Meditations, it talks about Marcus Aurelius, and one of the lines is, it just goes into depth about the fatherly presence in the home. And lately that's been it. Like, I feel like there's moments that, yes, you develop with your children and the relationship, but there's also moments for us as young men, or as men, period, because, that hit that switch as a father. It's like, wait, I'm a father. Yes, every day you go through the motions with your child and it's beautiful. There's some moments that test you, that it says, okay, now you have to be a father in the sense of a leader, an emotional presence, a love. Honestly, without any ego or like machismo-ness, is like the ability to stand on your word. It's just, and things like that. But I'm so dedicated to being a dad. And one of the things that challenges us and a lot of our brothers in our communities, because it's not always so easy, is the challenge of being there no matter what. Because sometimes we have trials and tribulations, whether it's with our significant others, our child's mothers, the environment, like, for example, me and Jesus were able to step away from the environment, but some guys can't. So in a way, it's very important to share our stories with our guys and be transparent and let these guys know, like, yo, I see you, bro. I understand you. Your story is different, but I'm committed to understanding you. I'm not judging you. I'm not trying to guide you, but I support you and I have your back. I make a lot of sports references, and I used to. So when the guys would take their tests, before COVID, we would go upstairs, everybody wearing the same fatherhood hoodie. We were a team. We were ready to rock and roll. Like, this felt like the championship. And one thing I used to always say was that, bro, for example, when the Warriors win the championship, the cleaning guy, he wins a ring too. And all I want to do is be the cleaning guy. Bro, I'm picking up the towels for you. I'm gonna bounce the ball, be like, yo, this one's good. And you go shoot it. Do your thing, So trying to be that support. One of the things that I want to go back to what Jesus said also is how fatherhood, it's so embedded in you that it goes home with you in a good way. And I thank God that, well, I say this to my cousin, she cooks, right? She be throwing it down in the kitchen. And I'm like, you will cook. And then we'd be like, thank you, God, for this food, but you cook. So I want to say, thank you to everybody at fatherhood. As I say, thank God. But one of the most important things, I'll be honest, is that I have, my daughter, yes, but I also have younger cousins that are like younger brothers and sisters. But mainly, one of my younger cousins, my mom raised her. My mom passed away, but she raised her as a young lady. And now she's going to be going away to college. She just started dating and things like that. And for me, I feel like a lot of times I'm the first person to go to college in my family, since my mother and my aunt in the 90s. And they came from the Dominican Republic and they got their GED. Honestly, when my mom spoke English, I used to be embarrassed because I didn't understand the pride in understanding my culture. And that's another thing that fatherhood has helped me understand too, is understand my community and my standing in the world as a man of color, and having pride in that. But for my cousin, a lot of people, when they don't go to college, when they don't seek in education, even through books or life experience, is that they talk from a place where they think they know, but they don't. So like my sister and my cousin was telling my younger cousin about college and this and this and that. And I'm like, you know, you're telling this young lady about things that you guys don't know about. And it's not in a way to offend you guys, but I'm glad that I'm in it and I'm able to be like, nah, you can maneuver like this and like this and like that, in a way that Jesus did for me and guys at Fatherhood also. I used to bother Jesus every semester to help me sign up for classes because I didn't know how to sign up for classes. I dropped out of high school. I would, you know, so for him to be, and he never ever made me feel like, yo, bro, you should know this by now, you know? So like I said, we're all in this, you know, understanding that we're all so connected.
Yeah,
Even that, yeah.
And you clearly see this sense of community, this sense of family.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing a lot from both of you is this brotherhood.
Yeah, yeah.
That's huge, you know. And Raheem, I'm going to go to you. So since becoming director, what would you say are 2 or 3 primary visions that you've seen that have come to fruition, and those that you're most proud of?
You know, it's so much. I guess the expansion, you know, of the program was really great. It's something, you know, when I came aboard in 2012, it wasn't something I thought, you know, at the time. This program started as a pilot, you know, program, and you know, to see it expand at you know, Hostos in Kingsborough is pretty amazing. But I think, you know, the biggest thing, you know, I think that like it's just going to our brothers' graduations. We have a ceremony where our classes complete the program, and there's a ceremony, even like before a lot of them even obtain their high school equivalency. And you see their families, you see their children, you see them like there, like, you know, it's amazing. I had the privilege of being at Christian's graduation at LaGuardia, and I missed yours, Jesus. I'm so sorry, brother. But you know, it's just amazing. Like, I mean, that's still like the most incredible thing for me. Like just to see these guys and have conversations now. I mean, we've had conversations for over 10 years or so, you know, with these brothers, and now to like be at this point here where Jesus graduated from college, Christian's about to graduate. There are other brothers that, you know, aside from these guys that I'm like speaking to, and I'm like, oh my God, like, you know, we've grown together. You know what I'm saying? My man Christian just talked about Marcus Aurelius, man. Yeah, we gotta talk about that, brother. Like I'm up on it, man.
Word.
You know, and it's amazing to like just see just what they're talking about and who they are as fathers. Again, I wasn't a father when I came into the program. I wasn't a father when I started working in the responsible fatherhood movement for, you know, it's been 16 years, and you know, I just get it like such an incredible perspective. I've learned so much from these brothers. I learned so much from the brothers that I've, you know, worked with over the years. It's added so much dimension to like how I am as a father. Like, it's just amazing. Like I really can't. It's hard to even put in words, but I'm just like, I feel so blessed just to be in the presence of these guys and continue to learn from them. And we learn from each other, and this brotherhood just means so much. It's beyond just work, you know. This is not, you know, this is life, and you know that we're living together and we're connecting, and again we're just growing together. And I just, you know, and you know, Christian is next. There's a couple other brothers that are next to, you know, graduate from college and you know, realize their goals, realize things that they may not have thought about. These brothers are traveling; they're like international now, you know, which is amazing. Going to different countries and experiencing different cultures, and I mean that's amazing. I talked to a brother the other day who he actually didn't acquire his high school equivalency with the program. He actually, you know, he finished the program, but actually did not get his high school equivalency. But we spoke, and I just was catching up with him. It's been 10 years. He was one of our early cohorts, and he said that he owns a truck. He has a trucking company. He's traveling across the country. He bought his truck during the COVID pandemic. He's able to support his family. He's buying 2 houses. And I'm like, damn, you know, I always thought him. I'm like, man, you know, you didn't achieve, you know, what you got from a, you know, a programmatic perspective or whatever. But he said, yo, you know, I got so much, from the program, I was like, wow, it touched me because he's like, yo, I'm able to provide for my family. My mind state is different. I see things differently. I'm a businessman. I'm able to hire my own father. That's generational change, and that's what it's all about. It's a beautiful thing, and that's the biggest thing that I'm really proud of.
Wow, thanks, Raheem. And it's like just talking about, the growth and the transformation. And you talked about, Raheem, and in regards to when you guys started, the fact you started with just at LaGuardia, and the fact that it has transformed, that it has grown to other colleges. And I think also we need to take this program around the country, because I think it's such a great program. It's just such a great thing, but it has to be that same model, and it has to make sure we have you guys at the helm to lead it, because you represent that culture in terms of what it needs to be about. So, Jesus, I'm going to ask you a question. In terms of the program itself, what do you feel has been that most transformational growth period for you? What has been that period that you look at and says, this has really transformed my life because of Fatherhood Academy? My life has been transformed because of what?
It was after fatherhood. And it was because when I was in fatherhood, I actually was going to quit and leave, because I'm like, I'm not making money, man. And one of the brothers there was like, yo, you're about to finish, just do it. And I'm like, all right, you know what? Let me just do it. And I stayed, took the test. I remember the last week I called out of work, and I asked Raheem and Dave, like, yo, I'm really, really bad at essays. Never wrote one ever in my life. I'm like, can I come here and write an essay every day? They're like, yeah, whatever you want. I'm like, you sure? I'm like, I'm not bothering you guys. They're like, yeah. I came every day, did it, and passed the GED the first time. And I was like, okay, I was listening to you about college. I think I'm ready. But in order to do college, I'm like, I want to go to a pre-college. If not, I'm not doing it. I'm like, I'm not good at essays. I really suck at them. And I'm still not, I'm sure if I want to do college all the way. And they got me into CUNY Start. And with CUNY Start, I was able to well, I failed my entrance exams, so that was fine. And then I was able to go to CUNY Start and take these classes, to retake them, and I passed them the first try. And they gave me a critical thinking class. It was a free course because I passed them the first time, which changed my life entirely. That's when I was coming to Dave and Raheem. I was like, yo, what is this philosophy stuff? I'm like, I don't know. Like I'm thinking I want to do philosophy. I don't know. But I was still a computer science major. And I was taking these classes little by little that were part of kind of philosophy. Well, the curriculum, I was taking random classes, but all these different classes, I was taking so much, and it was changing the way I looked at life. I was able to become a representative for students at LaGuardia Community College, speaking to donors about the importance of donating money. I was working as a mentor with Futuros, and most of the students there were moms. So it was an interesting transition from fathers to moms. And I was taking an art class, fell in love with art, and I'm like, what the hell, this art stuff? And I started going to more museums, and all these different things made who I am now. I got into this program, the Lucero program, and they sent me to Argentina, and I went to Argentina. It forced me to talk to my son's mom and say, like, hey, we need to co-parent, because if I don't trust you now, I will never trust you again. And I remember coming to Dave all the time, like, how do I do this? Because I don't know, like, I don't want to flip, and I really want to work with her, but I'm scared. And we sat down, we spoke about it, and I took the chance on her, left to Argentina. It was the worst the worst thing, because I missed my son so much. But it was an amazing experience, because it introduced me to this whole different world of being able to travel. and seeing different cultures, and as a philosopher, you're not judging their stuffs, and because everyone has different culture and traditions, and I was able to bring that back to fatherhood when I came back as a mentor, ended up being a mentor coordinator, and having these discussions with these guys and having this kind of like world perspective was amazing for me, because it made me, for me, as I would not say a better person, maybe I would say a better person, but I actually do feel as a better person, because I'm able to understand multiple perspectives now, and I could acknowledge them, and even then, like, and I think that's the route of philosophy that's helped me a lot, as being able to acknowledge different arguments and different perspectives, and have amazing conversations with so many people in the program, that, it's made me stay here. I mean, besides the fact that they helped me a lot, I felt like I was able to contribute a lot to our students, and I felt super confident of being here. And as being part-time, now full-time, I really have to say it was after the fatherhood that made me realize that a lot of things that we also had conversations, from baby mama drama to, having conversations with other brothers, and argue with them because, maybe we saw the world different. And afterwards, it was the afterwards that helped me realize how important fatherhood was to me. Um, and when we lost funding, I called Raheem and I was like, what can I do? What can I do? I remember, you know, the vice chancellor Frank Sanchez called me to see what we could do, and I was in class and I'm like, oh, I can't really talk, but how do I hang up on the vice chancellor? And just having these conversations of like how to save fatherhood. Yeah,
Wow.
after fatherhood.
And as you talk about it, and I'm hearing you and what you're saying in regards to it, just help you become a better person. And I think what that says is that you have grown. So
Yeah.
you've come to the Father Academy in terms of where you were, that point of growth and that point of transformation. So Christian, on actually that same question, what would you say was some of the more dramatic points of growth for you as well?
One of the things that you see, Jesus said, he mentioned CUNY Start. I went to CUNY Start also, right? And when I was taking my placement exam, my counselor at the time, she had contacted me and said, yo, you passed the GED. I totally forgot about this entrance exam. I failed it. I was like, I got my GED. This is what I came for. So I ended up having to retake math because I lost my focus because she called me mid-exam. And back to your question, very similar to Jesus. I think it was the after, and I feel like a lot of times, another thing you said also, Derek, was that you grew, and for me, it was that I was able to go to college now and know that I had a support group of people that knew me as a man, the change that I was making from the life I used to live and what I had gone through to now, to being a father, to not even knowing how to like go and use a printer, like literally like, yo, can you print this for me? And having that sense of support, and then going on to find an interest in college and try other jobs and have the support of fatherhood, but also the fact that when I go home, I'm a dad and my child is still growing and I'm still growing. And now I have to be a leader in my household and stepping into that role, because that's another thing too, is that as a father, you are going to be asked to grow. And sometimes a lot of us as men, we fail because it's like, yeah, we have kids now and they're going like forward, and we're trying to like stay back and not recognize that by nature we're being asked to grow as men. Another thing too is that I come from an environment that a lot of my people have only seen these four corners or only this neighborhood. I swear, even like I'm talking men and women, like this is all they've seen. So one of the things too is like, for example, Jesus and I, like, we're literally like brothers, like super, super close. He took me to Mexico with him. He said, yo, you want to go to Mexico? Just buy your flight. I was like, I bet. And we went to Mexico, and we, you know, another thing too is that we were able to connect as brothers. And while we were over there, like, we didn't speak about fatherhood or nothing. We had fun. We was chilling, experiencing the culture. I met his grandmother. So, like, you know, my brother, when I met him, he was telling me, yo, go to college, la, la, la. So he believed in me enough to be like, yo, I'm gonna take this dude and go to Mexico and even introduce him to my grandmother. He come to my house, meet my sister, etc., and things like that. So I wouldn't say there was a specific moment, but I knew, I'll be honest with you, I would knew that I had gone through a lot. And I knew that with my mom passing away, I didn't want to let her down, that the sacrifice she had made, because my mom used to work with kids with special needs. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of her ways is, you know, me honestly being comfortable with my culture, with the way I parent my daughter, even though she was a mother to a son, but me being a father to a daughter, and also her work and her help and love to the community. And for me, I took that and I needed to use it, but I didn't want to let her down. I didn't want to continue getting arrested. I didn't want to stay on the streets. I said, now I want to make my mom proud, even though she can't see me physically. So what happened at Fatherhood was they were able to give me those intangibles that I needed. Was like, brother, I see you, I believe in you. And even now, like, I'm in Hunter College now. I never even thought of a college or anything like that whatsoever. And now being like, man, this is cool. This is dope. Thinking of like, you know, thinking of like Raheem and also Andre, they graduated from Hunter. And I'm like, I'm gonna wear that purple. Trust me. Cause you know, the healthy ego says, brother, succeed. So for me, being like, I'm gonna wear that purple. I'm gonna be one of these people to do it also, and being able to pass it on to my brothers. Cause that I can't do, my success is nothing without it sprinkling over to my people, you know?
Wow.
So yeah.
Thank you. We're sort of winding down, so I'm going to ask one quick question. So I'm going to go to Jesus, Christian, then Raheem, I'm going to come to you. So this is going to be one quick question. Jesus, here's the situation. I'm a young father. I've dealt with a lot of challenges, and I'm just trying to figure it out. Why should I attend the Fatherhood Academy?
So I always tell my guys who call, I'm like, look, all I'm gonna say is that this is not a program. And I'm like, you know, you'll understand later on when you have these conversations with other people that this is beyond a program, and this is a brotherhood. You know, we don't just help academically, you know, academically, that's the easy part. But we have staff on call that is always going to be down to help you. You know, when I'm going through this orientation with them, I would tell them like, look, we have guys who will go down with you to the court. We don't represent anyone because we're not part of the legal system, but you know, we do know our way out, way around, whether it's visitation rights, character witness letters, things like that. You know, we're always concerned that you are doing well. If you go missing, we're gonna go look for you, because in order to complete your academic part of the life, you need to also be good, you know, in your life as well. So many things happens in our life, especially as fathers. You know, our kids get sick, or you know, unexpected drama that comes by, and we want to make sure that the guys are good first to be able to keep continuing in our program. We don't kick people out. Our brothers end up stepping down because of personal reasons, but they always come back no matter what. And I say this proudly because our guys always come back. Maybe not the next cohort, maybe not the second cohort, maybe a year later, 2 years later. We got guys that come back 3 years later and say like, hey, you remember me? And I'm like, yeah, I had a conversation with you, man. And then when I tell them that the most important thing is to complete the program, even if they're struggling, because our support will always be there for them. As long as we are funded and we're here, we're always going to be there for them, no matter what. So, you know, we got guys that always come back to do employment after fatherhood, to do employment, training program, training certificates. You know, they decide they want to enroll into college because, you know, maybe now is the time. And, you know, and I always tell them, you know, don't regret it. You know, maybe the time doesn't make sense now, but it will make sense later. And I tell you that our guys always do come back. That's like the main thing. I'm like, you know, have a conversation with other brothers, you'll see.
Christian, I'll ask you that same question.
One of the things for me, one of the things I mentioned earlier was transparency. And when I speak to guys that are coming in, sometimes I help Jesus make phone calls and stuff. I let them know, like, it's like in a way taking off the tie and being like, bro, I graduated from this program and let me tell you how it helped me. I've even had guys that I speak to on the first time and having such a conversation aside from the program about life on the phone. I've never seen them. They've never seen me. I just saw their number on like the Gmail account. And it's like having a real conversation, because transparency and understanding is so important to these guys. Never losing that sense of who I was before I got here and understanding all of my struggles in life, co-parenting and all these things, as I have been here. So for me, another thing too is I call them, honestly, you see when Oprah be like, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. I'm like, yo, this is the opportunity, because I know how it changed my life. I swear to God, like, yo, like there is the biggest party going on. And when you get to this party, like all of your wants are gonna be here. So doing a mixture of like that being excited and all that, to calming down, because I'm a very loud person. I'm Dominican, we speak very loud. Calming down and being transparent and being supportive, and all of those things. But letting them know, like, yo, dude, I understand you because I went through this thing, and come on, let's do it. Like, trust me, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Christian is definitely right about building a relationship. I remember one of our students, Nelson, I was cool with him for like years through the phone only. And I'll call him like, yo, Nelson, what's up? You coming through? Oh, yo, my bad, Jesus, you know. I'm like, yo, come on, man. You told me next cohort. And he ended up coming, graduated, and, you know, one of the most amazing persons I ever met. And this is what it is. Like, we build relationships with them even before they come through the phone. I mean, well, not in person anymore, but through orientation.
Wow, that's phenomenal. That is phenomenal. So Raheem, I'm going to leave the last word for you.
Same question?
Same question. You can add what you need to add.
Sure. Yeah, you know, usually when someone gets to me, you know, and these guys said it, I'm just echoing pretty much what they said. But, you know, for me, it's just, you know, I always ask, you know, what brings you here? You know, what, like, why'd you pick up the phone? You know, what made you give us a call today? And, you know, to a man, you know, it's over the years, man, you know, it never failed. Brothers, like, I'm here to, you know, better my situation for my kid. It's about my child. And it's just really having that conversation, like, what do you want to do? How do you want to do that? Well, you know, what's you know, how much are you willing to commit to this? And then, you know, give an idea, you know, and then continue the conversation, say, yo, you know, this is what we have here. You know, I think it's very special, and I think you would fit in, and, you know, give us a chance. You know, give us a chance, trust in us, to build this partnership with you, to get to that next step, to be able to do whatever it is you want. You know, don't put limitations on yourself. You know, let's come together and work through this journey together. And that, you know, and that's pretty much, you know, how I speak on it. You know, I really, you know, for the program, you know, again, you know, and the brothers talked about it. You know, when the brother comes here, you know, we have like 85% of our students finish with us, you know, which is, you know, pretty incredible, you know. It's proof, you know, in ways that, you know, what we're doing is working. Students are passing the, you know, the high school equivalency exam at very, you know, high rates compared to, you know, the average for the state. But aside from all that, you know, give us a chance. You know, this is a family, and we welcome you to be a part of it, the brotherhood of fatherhood.
Wow.
Yeah.
Raheem, Christian, Jesus, thanks for sharing all that information. I mean, it's just powerful information. I think the most powerful piece is just hearing the stories, the personal stories, because we can always put things out in terms of pamphlets. We can always put things on the website, and we can always do all this in social media. But when you hear people's personal stories, when you hear their journey, that tells it all, and that answers all the questions that I think young people need to hear, young fathers, when they hear someone has gone through those footsteps, they've seen their journey. So in terms of the Fatherhood Academy, is there any other projects or any events that you guys have coming up that you would want the audience to know about and so they can participate in?
Sure. We're recruiting now. We start up June 21st, our next cohort, our high school equivalency cohort. Jesus, you want to speak a little bit more about that?
Yeah, we're recruiting right now, but by any chance you can't, we are recruiting September as well. So, you know, there's no real time limit. But we are giving tablets this cohort, so that's pretty cool. We were able to get that for our fathers who are joining our program. And yeah, invest in yourself.
And for the summer, we will be remotely operating remotely in the summer. It's a 12-week program. And for those who have the high school diploma already, if you're a father between 18 and 30, we also have our college and career prep program, which we're recruiting for the fall. And that's just to assist you to get your mind around college and careers and you know, support you through that process.
Again, thank you guys for sharing your story. Make sure you are reaching out to the Fatherhood Academy. Make sure you're reaching out to the Fatherhood Academy. But I also just want to share as well in terms of Real Dads Network. We're doing our 13th year of doing Real Dads Week. On Saturday, which is Saturday, we have a family fun day at FDR Park. Come out and enjoy and just kind of like socialize and fellowship with a lot of other families and stuff like that. So that is free to everyone. On Tuesday at the New York Poets Cafe, we have a spoken word, fatherhood spoken word. Definitely come out to be a part of that as well. And on Wednesday, we have the Real Dads Comedy with comedian talent and friends. That's going to be in Harlem. And then Thursday, we have our Real Dads Club. We have speaker Sean Dove talking about leadership. So definitely come out to that. And then also, so that ends Real Dads Week. But in regards to, we ask that you follow us in terms of CUNY. I'm going to now go to CUNY. We ask that you follow CUNY BMI on all social media platforms at CUNY, CUNY BMI on all social media platforms. And we also have it. Also, you can catch previous CUNY BMI dialogues and CUNY BMI conference panels on YouTube /CUNY BMI. Also look out for the 2022 CUNY BMI Giving Campaign announcement. And visit the CUNY BMI website at cuny.edu/BMI. Again, thank you very much for your time. This was a great conversation.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day as well.
Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, everybody.